Okay, what's up, guys? It's Tom again. This is the second part of my extended introduction. I had already made a lengthy video that was supposed to be the second part, but I'm having trouble with the upload. I was doing the uploading from my phone, and it just froze, and I don't know. I deleted the phone from deleted the video from my phone, and it just stopped uploading, so I guess I had to leave it on my phone, even though yesterday I was pretty sure that when I was uploading the video that it went through, even though I had already deleted it. So please excuse the quality. I'm sitting in my car. I don't want to wake up my house, and I am using the laptop and using the webcam that's built into it, so the quality isn't fantastic, but hopefully this will go through. So, alright. I'm going to try to cover some more bases as far as who I am and my beliefs, my feelings on some heavy topics that I feel are important, especially in the world today, in a more extensive manner. And, so yeah, let's get started. Okay, so, first part, politics. How do I feel? What is my political standing? When I registered to vote when I was in high school, I declared myself an independent because I am someone who believes that whoever is going to be voted into office should just be right for the job. The political party shouldn't matter. Even though I tend to be someone who leans more to the left, I am what you could consider a liberal, but not the awful, modern, completely PC, overly offended liberal. When I say liberal, I mean, I'm all for equal rights. I tend to be a bit of a constitutionalist, but, not too, like a crazy extreme. Like gun rights, for instance. Let's cover that topic. I don't really know how I feel about people walking around owning large weapons of war like assault rifles and automatic weapons. I feel like there should just be a good screening process, but I am completely against taking away people's guns. Completely against it. If they were to ever try something like that, I think everyone watching this video knows that it wouldn't work. And if they were to get it to work somehow, it would cause an uprising of unfathomable proportions in this country, and it would be a bigger mess than I think they would even want to try to bargain for. So I think they're going to leave that alone. If anything, if they are ultimately trying to do that, which sometimes it does look that way, they're going to try to do it slowly and not all at once. And that's scary too, because 20 years from now, I don't want to be looking back at this video saying, oh, they really did do it. I don't want that to happen. So, okay, so as far as the election is concerned, I am not voting. I'm going to tell you why. I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, but you have to vote to prevent so-and-so from getting in. You got to cast your vote. I don't think either of them are right for the job. I've done enough research on Hillary Clinton to start off, and it appears as though she is a complete fucking monster. And I don't think she's fit for the job because of the things that she's done off camera. Especially off camera. There's apparently something going around right now about WikiLeaks has some info on Clinton potentially ordering Assange to be killed, and it was stated as sorry for my car beeping. I turned the power on. It was stated as non-legal action. It's like, well, that's illegal. Non-legal means illegal. She wanted to take non-legal action against Assange, and I mean that just fits the case right there. I've read that she's had so many political adversaries killed, and there was a good portion of my life where I was like, oh yeah, Hillary Clinton, she seems cool, and oh yeah, Bill Clinton, he was a good president because we had a surplus going economically. And turns out they're probably both monsters. I think Donald Trump is a dick. I do respect the fact that he speaks his mind and doesn't have a filter and avoids being politically correct. But there are things that he doesn't have to say, and he says them anyways. You know, he could be using these concepts in a better fashion, basically. So, like I said, I tend to lean more towards the left. I'm not someone who is completely against someone just politically speaking, just because they're a Republican or a Democrat. I'm all for equal opportunity and equal rights. I'm very anti-racist. I feel like men and women should have equal pay, no matter what. If you're paying a woman $10 an hour to bag groceries, you're paying a man $10 an hour to bag groceries. It shouldn't be 25 cents less because they're a woman. That to me, isn't that unconstitutional by definition? Like, and the Constitution, it does say all men are created equal. I think if we're going to change anything in the Constitution, it should say all people are created equal, because they are. So moving on, religious standing. How do I feel religiously? Well, I was raised a Catholic, and I used to go to church every Sunday. Not like it was like not low key, but my family wasn't over the top religious. My dad didn't go to church really with us. He's not a religious person. I am probably what he is now. And that would be an agnostic, because by definition, agnostic is someone who, for example, I can't prove or disprove the existence of a divine creator, some omnipotent source that breathed life into all of creation. I can't prove it or disprove it. And that's why I seek these answers. I feel like there are some truths in every religious book, along with non-truths mixed in. And I have one major golden rule when it comes to other people's beliefs. I have nothing but respect for other people's religious ideals and philosophies, their outlooks on life. I respect it. However, as long as you keep it peaceful, then I respect it. But any sort of extremism, doesn't even have to be Islamic, it could be Christian extremism, it doesn't matter. If it involves violence or forcing people to believe in what you follow, you have lost my respect. If you want to recruit people for your faith, that's fine. That's fine. Do it peacefully though. And don't push your beliefs on other people. And when I say that, I mean, you can introduce it to someone, but don't force them to believe it. They can believe whatever they choose to believe. Because, like I said, I'm all for equal rights, free thinking, I'm all about truth. And that's the way it should be when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion. Just treat people the way you would like to be treated. And I'm sure you've heard that It's been said billions of times, but it's something to live by. So why don't we get into like the nitty gritty of why I'm making this channel and the most important aspects of what you're going to find here. So, I believe that the Earth has been visited by extraterrestrials for more than just thousands of years, maybe millions, maybe more. I believe that there is something to alien abduction. Could it be some sort of mental phenomenon? Sure. But there's a lot of physical evidence out there. I was watching Ancient Aliens the other day, and unless you watch the show, you may not have come across this, but I forget the gentleman's name. I'm going to have to look into it. I'd like to do a video all about it. He had, for the first time, what could be, well, and by the first time, I mean the first time I've ever seen this, he had what could have been fingerprints left over from extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings that have either abducted an individual or visited or just made their presence known. And it sent a chill down my spine. It was one of the creepiest things I have ever seen. And he's also got a large collection of what would be implants, alien implants. I mean, that alone is pretty substantial and sufficient evidence, if you ask me. Like, I ponder how a small object, only about that big, sometimes even smaller, how does something like that, which is apparently made out of materials that have similar properties or equal properties to what you would find in a meteorite, how does that end up on the inside of someone's earlobe? Or how does that end up inside someone's like brain cavity, or just anywhere in their flesh? Or like he had an individual who was apparently abducted, and if you put their hand under a black light, no matter what they did, they couldn't get rid of it. It was like a purple circle, a perfect circle. It was like some sort of tag or like tracking mechanism that these beings may have stamped somebody with. I just think that there's a lot of evidence out there to suggest that, in the least, something weird is going on. And that's when it comes to ghosts, aliens, telekinetic, psychic abilities. Just all of these things really fascinate me, and that's why this channel is here. And another big part of this are things that aren't necessarily paranormal or otherworldly, but government cover-ups and conspiracies, secret black projects, 9/11 truth. I'm big into 9/11. Man, I've studied that for years. Excuse me. And in the least, a stand down happened or something. I've watched so many documentaries. I've actually talked to a lot of people about it who were there, who knew someone who was there, who lost someone who was there. And I was in 6th grade when it happened, and it was just the craziest thing I've ever seen as far as non-paranormal things go. And the reason I'm seeking the truth about 9/11, and the reason I'll be sharing information that I've compiled over the years about this topic, isn't for entertainment. It's not clickbait. It's because the people who died, they deserve better than what they've been given since their passing. And when I say that, what I mean by that is, if the official story is bogus, we have a right to know. And even more so, the families and the loved ones, friends, people who died that day. and even those who have died fighting in the wars since, and the first responders who put their fucking asses on the line, and the first responders who ended up coming down with medical conditions because of all the dust and debris from the collapses of the towers, and and like Building 7, it's like, come on, man, like, what is that? Like, you're telling me at a few isolated fires on a few floors of a steel-framed high-rise building brought the building down like this. I showed countless people the video of the World Trade Center 7 building going down. I didn't tell them what it was, and I made sure that they probably didn't know going into it what it would be. I can tell you that every single person said, well, that's a building demolition, when I asked them what they saw. So what does that say? I mean, that's the human eye observing and making a determination of what it is seeing. This isn't funny. This isn't entertainment. Some of this channel will be entertainment, weird happenings and, interesting stories, but like things like 9/11, to me that's very serious. Very serious. It needs to be treated as such. I really love being an American. Do I consider myself a patriot? Yeah, I do. I get chills when I play the national anthem on my guitar. I've been playing for 14 years now, self-taught, and when someone, this is kind of jumping ahead, but if someone tells me that they think I'm like a scumbag or a weirdo for believing in 9/11 conspiracies or any sort of government conspiracies, I should point them in the direction of videos on YouTube that you can find where you can get like a top 10 list of conspiracies that came true. And I think just that alone should be enough to declare that the government can't be trusted. And it's not everyone. Not everyone in the government. It's, like I've said before, compartmentalized. It's not every individual, but yeah, it's back to 9/11. I, of course, because I was so young when it first happened, I did believe the official story for a few years, and then I saw loose change, and it changed a lot. It did change a lot. And of course, I didn't automatically believe it, but I looked into it, and I followed the money. I looked at things like Larry Silverstein taking out that insurance policy on the towers just a few months before they went down. A 99-year lease with terrorism insurance. All the put options put on the airlines that were involved. The rubble at the Pentagon. I mean, it doesn't even look like a plane hit it. It's probably a missile, and some people think that's nuts that I'm saying that, but the motto of this channel is like, truth is stranger than fiction. It is. Unless, of course, you can think of some fiction that's really strange, but I digress. So, I've had experiences with the paranormal in my life. I'm going to be posting some stories about that. I'm going to post a story about my first UFO experience, like major UFO experience though. V1. I'm just thinking about it. Sorry, I was like pausing, but it was that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I had experiences with what you would call ghosts or spirits, and I'm not saying like I can communicate with them or that I'm like a medium or anything, but it's had a lot of weird things happen, a lot of weird synchronicities. My best friend named Gemma. Uh, right before she calls me, like almost every time, like she'll pop into my head out of nowhere, and just the phone will start ringing, which is pretty weird, and it happens a lot, like every day. Um, there's just I've just seen so much. I've seen so much that it's pretty easy for me to say that there's a lot going on in this world that we don't have a grasp on. We don't fully understand it, and we need to adhere to the callings of respect for these things. They demand our attention. They should be studied, things like the afterlife. I'm very fascinated by it, very fearful of it at the same time. Dying is my biggest fear in the entire world. I am very afraid to die. But I do have days where I'm a little bit more at peace with it, depending on how I'm perceiving it in that moment. One day I could be completely frightened of the idea, and another day I could be more interested and fascinated, which is where I try to stay. It allows me to read more things and look into more things that keep the fear at bay. As far as other interests, uh, I love basketball, love baseball, football, love sports. Basketball's my number one though. I root for New York teams, so that's a problem. I'm sorry. It's okay. Uh, I don't think that's the most important thing in the world, though. Obviously, like I do enjoy them. I watch ESPN. I play NBA 2K. I physically play basketball. It's one sport that like I excel at. I just figured I'd throw that in there though, so you know who I am. That's not going to be a part of this channel. I mean, I'm if something happened to the world of sports, I might put it in the vlog section. I'm really trying to keep it to the juicy, interesting, weird, unusual, and downright serious happenings in the world. One video might be about, just a weird thing that's happened to me. A situation that I may have shared with a lot of people in my life that I can now share with all of you that are watching. Or I may make a video about a very serious situation or conspiracy or cover up. 9/11 to me is as serious as it gets. So I'm gonna do my best to make this channel interesting so that when you watch it, you'll want to leave it on and watch all of the videos in a row. And I'm not doing this to make money. I would, if I make money off of it eventually, that would be awesome. Of course, I think anybody could sit here and say that they're okay with that. But for me, this is more of a calling for me to interact with all of you. I've been an observer on YouTube for years now. I had an old channel, but that was before I was really like searching, you know, the topics that this channel is concerned with. Well, I mean, I was always searching, UFOs and ghost videos and things, but it's heavier now. I mean, I've always been interested in these topics, But now it's like I want to talk about it more than just watch it. I want to get involved. I want to communicate. I want to shout out other people that I watch, and maybe even like meet them, which would be awesome. Like I would love to like go to a protest with Dabu. That would be that'd be sick. It's awesome. We share similar beliefs, and I think he's really doing a great job. Some of you, for some reason, think he's a shill, which I don't know why, but it's pretty stupid. Of course, it's only like a handful of you, so you know, or like if I could have like a discussion with Pastor Paul Begley, that would be, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not Christian. That's where he and I differ, but I think we can find a common ground and talk about things like, what if the apocalypse is near, and what's gonna happen over the next 10 years, and prophecies. Like just because I'm not a Christian doesn't mean I don't find these things interesting, and it doesn't mean that I'm not open-minded to the idea of those kinds of things being absolutely true, because they could be, or maybe it's just part of them, some of them. I just think we don't fully understand any of it yet, and we may never understand it. The other thing that I find interesting is like transhumanism and posthumanism. It's pretty much the same thing. Like the future of technology and merging with machines. Like that's something that is going to happen in my lifetime. Like the technological singularity is like one of the most wild topics I've ever looked into, and it's going to happen. But there is a danger in merging with mechanical devices as organic species on this planet. We have to make sure that our heads are in the right place. We cannot sacrifice being human too much, because then we're gonna lose ourselves. And being that I believe in what I believe, something that I can't confirm because I'm an agnostic, but I deep down inside I feel like we have souls. There's something in us, like an energy of some kind that is us. Like this is our meat suit, and we're a soul that's in a body. And like what I compare that to, like when I talk to people and they might not understand what I'm saying, I tell them, okay, so let's say you're driving a car, right? You are the soul and the car is your body, and the car breaks down. Well, what happens? You have to go get a new car. Well, so does that mean I believe in reincarnation? I don't know. It's possible, like I said, but I feel like maybe the energy that is you, your soul, goes somewhere. Maybe you have a choice. Maybe you don't. Maybe there are certain steps you have to take, to reach maybe nirvana, something similar to that. Could be. I don't know. My dad once said something interesting though. He said that did you ever think that if people knew what happened after death, that life wouldn't be worth living, because maybe it's so fantastic that we'd all kill ourselves? I thought that was pretty interesting. So I'm going to close this video out. I think I've said a lot about myself. Pretty much know where this is going. And hopefully I'll start getting some viewers soon, which I'm going to start really advertising. And just remember, truth is stranger than fiction.